think you're exactly the right person that we need to talk to. Today, I actually have with me another woman. Hi, I'm Dr. V. Boykin, a former single mom, stripper, felon, and now a keynote speaker and author of Fix Your Face and Watch Your Tone. Women know what's needed. I'm super excited to share the screen stage moment with Stephanie. Stephanie, can you introduce yourself and maybe say how we know each other?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Stephanie Tobin. I am a strategic account executive based in 8,300 feet in Morrison, Colorado. But we are fabulous colleagues and actually started together on the same day.
True story. So does that mean you're a woman in sales?
I am. Yes, I
I
am.
love it. There's not many of us. There's not enough of us. And we are so uniquely poised, qualified, and talented enough to do more within the sales space. So it's great to speak with you today. Can't wait to dive in.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Today, I actually have with me another woman who came across something very interesting when she was attempting to use one of the AI bots. And I had posted earlier, like, is this racist? Because why is there only one Black woman in this whole picture when I say, tell me about my life? So you had sent a message and you were like, I noticed something also. So what did you come across as you were using and what were you using?
Yeah, so I was testing a few different things. So I was using Gemini with Google, and then I also cross-referenced with ChatGPT. And what I had stumbled across was I choose two themes for myself every single year, and I like to back into my themes with like motivational quotes to re-anchor me as I'm like going through hard times or going through the year. And the quotes on both, according to my themes, was only populating quotes from men. And so on both of the different AI platforms, I had to push back and specify I wanted female driven quotes to back into being a female in the workplace and a professional. And it because I had seen your video of is AI just, is it a silly mistake? Is it just naive? Or is it intentionally racist or sexist? It sparked those questions for me of how can we better train these models to be more focused on diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging and drive the values, especially with tech moving full force into AI.
Okay, so wait a minute. So the default, you're saying the default when you're like, send me the best quote in the entire world was male.
Yep. Yep. So I got a lot from Malcolm Gladwell, Ralph Marston, because my themes for the year are definition and fluidity, and I had to the only way, and I kept redoing the prompt to see if it would catch, and until I asked for female quotes was when it gave me female quotes.
So you specifically had to say, hey, share with me some of the brilliant women quotes that you have back there in your language model.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
interesting to me, and I'm saying this, not you, so all the hate mail can come my way, but it feels kind of like when you're in a meeting and all the great ideas are put on display that the men have, when you said the same thing or something similar or also have a great idea and there's just no space for it.
Yep. Yep.
I'm wondering, because from what I understand, limited, but I was talking to a very smart female engineer, and she was saying that this language model, the way that it works is it's the next most predictable thing is what ChatGPT or any of these AI things spit back out. So I'm thinking the next most predictable thing that's going to happen is a man is either going to jump in and provide their expertise or co-opt the opportunity to provide information to the exclusion of the brilliant women that may also have similar or even better information.
Yeah, and like what I started thinking about too was, is it because there's more like text out there by male authors? Is it because those are more widely promoted and we're used to seeing, like when it comes to athletes, it's really until 2024 we started pushing women's sports. Let's pay attention to women's sports and female athletes and like the GOAT of Simone Biles, right? Why do we only see like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant quotes and we're not seeing the Simone Biles or the Caitlin Clarks? And so is it just a lack of our audience or recognition, or we just don't have as much? Or is it just trying to play catch up? Or is it intentionally inhibiting? Or does it think that I am a male asking? And so those are,
Oh, are you a male asking? And so it
yeah.
maybe automatically associates. That's an interesting, I hadn't even considered that.
So when I use ChatGPT and AI in my career in sales, I give it specific prompts and background, right? When I was asking for the prompts around giving me motivational quotes for these two definition or these two themes, I didn't give it the background of I am a female. So I just had it open. And so I'm wondering if it took it and its own assumption of I was a male asking.
Wouldn't that be an interesting thing? Like it just assumes we're all men because you put in professional qualifications. I think one of the problems is if you're not in the room when it's being built, how can you be in the room when it's being used? For example, we have all of these woke products. That's why you have pink razors and blue razors, right? Secret, strong enough for a man, but made for a woman. So we all understand the value of woke product and product marketing. It's to reach your target group. You are aware of what the target group wants, needs, and values. I'm wondering, are we going to see the same pushback with our AI bots as we do with everything else that's rapidly shifting, at least in the United States of America, and what that means? So here's my question. What do we have to do to educate the language model that the next best answer isn't cis white straight male driven? What are we going to do to prevent this from perpetuating the things that interrupt productivity? For example, right now you are not thinking of the absolute best way to sell. Thank goodness we're after business hours. You're thinking about why ChatGPT couldn't give you a response that resonated with what you needed. That's why diversity, inclusion, and belonging is so powerful and directly tied to productivity. Because if we weren't talking about this, we might be talking strategy.
Exactly. And I get that AI and like the whole language learning model it's adaptive, right? It's going to continuously learn and change. But how do we give it the flexibility for perception and perspectives? Like it needs to, in the answers, start to give more than just one.
Yeah. I mean, why isn't the default to provide an array of responses since you're talking to an array of people? And what happens? I always use this and people, it makes everyone uncomfortable. And this is why I say it. If we had an ED dysfunction month, no one would go to their male colleague and say, oh my gosh, it's ED dysfunction month. I think you're exactly the right person that we need to talk to. Exactly. That's the reaction. Like, oh no, how could you do that? How could you suggest that? But when it's Black History Month or Women's History Month or whatever it may be, we're like, oh, you qualify. You have those parts. We're tapping you in. I think the
Mhm.
same way that we tap people in is the same way we also reap the consequences of tapping people out when we don't include more of them into what's being developed. And for me, in my experience, ChatGPT produced similar dismal results. In fact, after an engineer put in a prompt that included my website and my book, this is the picture that came out. Now, you'll notice everybody in the back that is working, everybody that has it together, everybody that's formally dressed, white or white passing. There's one Black woman in the front who is much more casual, and she looks like she's being admired, studied, exhibited. I'm not sure, but she's certainly not sitting down at the desk working like everybody else in the room. So we have to get this better because, Stephanie, you have a brilliant mind, and I have a brilliant mind too, and we have better things we need to talk about. So if they fix this, we can get on to the business at hand. Wouldn't you agree?
I 100% agree there. And I think it needs to be native in the back end too. It doesn't need to be just our prompt. Like exactly what you're saying of tapping people in or women getting a seat at the table. Like give us that proactively where we're not the ones having to ask for it or demand it.
So I wonder if all the women mobilized and start putting into chat GPT, stop sending me male dominated images, text, content, responses, and the like. And as
Yeah.
well, since we're all allies, and also stop making it like cis white tall male who's
Yeah.
straight. Like, can we have a default of varied responses? Because if we all look over the fence at the same time and we all look straight down at the ground, we'll never see the storm coming on the horizon. We need the diversity. It literally informs the best outcome for our customers and for the products that we're trying to bring to market.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks so much for your time. Any last words you want to share?
Well, thank you so much for having me and continue to put out all of the videos and educational content that you are because I love watching.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dr. V.